What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka All Fires. Now, as I'm sure many of you saw, and on Friday night, most of the trailers that were shown at D23, or rather all of them, were leaked out on social media. Usually, Marvel Studios is really good about policing people with their phones, but they were not prepared for the stadium they were in on Friday night, and thusly, a ton of people took footage, put it on the internet, and while I was able to dodge any copyright strikes, some of my friends were not so lucky. So I've spent the last day or two trying to figure out the legality of what's going on with those. Pretty much if you stay away from footage, you should be fine, and so we're only going to include a couple of shots and frames. But at this point, we have the transcript, we have seen the full Daredevil trailer, and there are a ton of Easter eggs in there for the upcoming season. We're going to break them all down during this video, talk about the things you missed and what generally is going on during the Daredevil Born Again trailer. We're breaking it all down. Quick reminder, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment down below. We do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do. We're also still doing our PS5 giveaway, so all you got to do, be a sub, leave a comment if you want, stick around at the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so the trailer opens up set in the subway where we see some fast shots of Daredevil and some birds, obviously setting up the city and a drop of blood for violence. The trailer is framed over a series of two conversations. The first one is between Matt Murdock and his client, Hector Ayala. We know that because he's sitting in prison and talking to him through a prison phone and behind the glass. And from other shots during the trailer, we also know that he's playing the character White Tiger because we see him without his mask and then later suited up in a full costume. Now, the dialogue goes like this. He tells Daredevil that people are disappearing and no one seems to care, that putting on the suit, it's more than just that. It's actually the calling. People need a hero. He's basically setting up the villain of the series underneath Kingpin, which is going to be Muse. That's why people are disappearing, and he's establishing himself, at least through his own eyes, as a vigilante, but more importantly, as a justice dealer, which is going to be at the heart of the series, revolving around Matt Murdock and Daredevil, around Kingpin, around, of course, Punisher as well. Is where is that indelible line between where you are a hero, as he says everybody needs a hero, or going too far? Where is that line in the sand? What are you not willing to cross? And that dichotomy, of course, is at the heart of the character that is Daredevil, with his faith. And it seems like, by all accounts in the footage they showed in this trailer, that they are keeping true to the Netflix show, and it is going to be just as violent as we would expect, which is amazing because if you know anything about how the production on Daredevil originally went, and before the actors strike they had shot some episodes, Kevin Feige took one look at it and said, no, we've got to start again, and they were willing to commit the money to rework it from the ground up and make it a full-on continuation of what we had already seen on Netflix. Then we get the Marvel Television title card, and the conversation has changed. Now it's Matt Murdock talking, but he's sitting at a table in a diner in a restaurant. He's actually talking to Kingpin because we see the continuation of this scene and conversation throughout the rest of the trailer. Now, they piece together Matt's dialogue to say, New York is the way it's always been, out for blood, the entire system against you. It's often David versus Goliath, and then we get a shot of the Punisher, although he's not in costume, he's actually in full beard. It's John Bernthal holding a hatchet and accosting Daredevil in what looks like a men's locker room. They also show a quick shot of Miss Marvel's dad. It looks like he's getting arrested. He's probably going to be representing him in something to do with Miss Marvel and during this TV show, setting up her appearance. We then get an insanely awesome shot of a ton of different cowls, promising some very cool suits in this upcoming season. We see the yellow suit, of course, from She-Hulk, and we see the red cowl, but we see two others, one of which is the black cowl. That's the Shadowlands outfit. We hope that he wears that during the series. It's been that way for a while. It looks like we're going to get it. The other one is the White Hand of God costume, which is rather recent and obviously the exact opposite of the Shadowlands black costume. Now, the next shot we got is our first look again at the villain underneath Kingpin, which probably is going to be the main villain of the first part of the series, and that's Muse. Now, Muse has not lived that long in Marvel Publishing. He debuted in 2016 and was dead by March of 2018, but man, while he was around, he definitely packed a punch. As described by Marvel Wiki, quote, Muse was a mysterious, deranged artist whose gruesome work of art was discovered after he anonymously sent vigilante Blindspot to the address of a warehouse in Washington Heights where he planted it. This work consisted of a mural painted with the blood from over 100 different missing people. Some weeks later, he defaced the mural and replaced it with the phrase, "You're only as good as your last performance," followed by a new address that directed the police to a vacant building. Inside one of the floors, Muse had planted corpses of 6 humans he had previously abducted, posing them with props as if they were performing mundane tasks. Okay, so before we go any further with this, because it actually has ties to the Mayor of New York storyline with what's going on with Kingpin, and we're going to talk about that. Can you guys see how this might go down in a couple of episodes and why this is going to be absolutely horrific? There's no way to dumb this villain villain down. Everything about him is the grotesque. Him performing art with people's blood and corpses is the main part of his character. That's what he's built around. There would be no other way to do this. So I'm just don't know if I'm more horrified or impressed that Marvel Studios decided to keep their promise of going all the way, and that this series is still going to have some of that actual visceral violence that we liked so much about those Netflix series. And as I mentioned briefly in the prologue, this is extremely promising for the Punisher series that's said to be in development for Jon Bernthal to come back. We can expect it to be as violent as the original series. And again, just to be clear, I don't really want violence for violence sake. I'm not a thrasher guy, but I want violence when it does the character justice as it applies to what we read in the comics, and that's just par for the course with characters like Daredevil and Punisher. Now, eventually from that same storyline, again, this is run between 2016 and 2018, following the election of Wilson Fisk, quote, as mayor of New York, which we expect to see in the series, he implements a strict anti-vigilante policy. You can obviously see where that's coming from. Kingpin gets in power and then goes, no, Daredevil, you're not going to do anything. That's what's going to be the motivation behind this. There is another vigilante as part of the story named Blind Spot, but I'm not sure if Marvel's going to do that or just replace those parts of the storyline with Daredevil. It would make a little more sense. But on the back of this anti-vigilante policy being put in place, what ends up happening is that Muse, who's already caught at this point, breaks out of prison and decides to up the ante, vandalizing now public landmarks across Manhattan with giant-sized irremovable graffitis with basically symbols of other vigilantes and superheroes, and then slaughtering those vigilantes and adorning the graffiti with their bodies. Police actually intercept him while he's finishing a mural of the Punisher, and of course, Kingpin uses that against Punisher because, well, he's Kingpin. Now, I'm not going to finish the story because I'm going to let it play out however they choose to on the TV show. A couple of things I want to say. Number one, again, this guy's whole hook, pun totally intended, is that he kills people and then makes art out of their bodies, or what he thinks is art. It's completely grotesque, and I have no idea what we're going to see on Disney Plus. But obviously with Deadpool and Wolverine, it's been proven now at the box office and by critical and fan acclaim that a rated R and gory thrasher style bloody movie, when it's right for the character, is what Marvel fans want to see. And if anything, they have more freedom to do this on Disney Plus than they do in a movie. So I am super excited for what this series is going to be like. Now, the trailer concludes Matt Murdock sitting at that same table in the restaurant with Wilson Fisk. There is an election poster in the background implying that he's either still on the campaign trail or he's already won the mayor of New York. And he basically says to Matt Murdock, then we understand each other, on the back end of basically being like, there is a line in the sand that we both have to cross when necessary, and pointing out that, you know, Daredevil has a darker side just like he does. It also has a ton of violence included in the trailer. Guys, I'm expecting the world of this series, knowing that Marvel wanted to stay so committed to making it an extension of the first Netflix series, which they have huge shoes to fill with many sort of missteps, pun totally intended, as they've had at Disney Plus. I'm really glad to see that they weren't going to allow this series to be a casualty as well. Quickly, the giveaway stuff. We're still doing a PS5 giveaway. We just gave one away for Deadpool and Wolverine. The next one is next month with Agatha All Along. Super simple to be entered to win. Hit the sub button and leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. My name's Michael Roman. Find me over on Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. Find me on all platforms with original music under the name Allfires. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.